Hey y'all, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are when you see this video. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. It's December 3rd, 2025. I have an interesting story for you today. Kind of a different story here, but interesting. I'm going to go right to it and then discuss some other things. So in Germany, Orthodox multi-generational housing project planned near monastery in Utterrufhausen, Germany. That was my attempt at figuring out how to say that and pronounce that German town. Came out on October 10th. A group of Orthodox Christians in Germany have launched plans to create a multi-generational residential community in the village of this place, located approximately 18 miles from Fulda in the Hessian Kegelspiel region. The project, operating under the name Lioba Leben EV, aims to provide housing for people at all stages of life, from young families with small children and single individuals to elderly residents requiring care. The planned 3-story facility will offer care services across all care levels for seniors who need assistance, according to the project website. Look at that beautiful picture. I tell you, Germany is a beautiful place. We lived there for 3 years when I was a kid. My dad was stationed at Rhein-Main Air Base, which was near in the Frankfurt area. Beautiful area. Beautiful, beautiful country. The development will be built on property neighboring the existing St. Justin Hermitage, an Orthodox monastery in the area. Residents will live in self-contained apartments that allow for private, independent living while also participating in shared community activities centered on prayer, gardening, and various projects involving kitchen work, church life, and cultural activities. The project organizers describe their vision as bringing together diversity in lifestyle while maintaining unity in the Orthodox Christian faith. Guest rooms will be available for visitors, and programs will be offered for those exploring Orthodoxy. Saint Lioba. Oh, I never heard of her. Awesome. The project takes its name and spiritual inspiration from Saint Lioba, whose relics are preserved and venerated at Saint Lioba Church in Fulda. Financing for the project will come from 3 sources: cooperative shares and rent payments from residents, grant funding, and donations. Prospective residents will be required to purchase cooperative shares as a one-time payment, with the amount based on the size of their living unit, followed by monthly rent and utility costs. The organizers are also exploring options to make the housing accessible to those with limited financial means. The association is currently awaiting recognition of its nonprofit status, after which it will be able to issue tax receipts for donations. This is all in German. Quite interesting. Let's go over here and see what. Look at that beautiful land. Unfortunately, I don't understand it, but I get the idea of what it's going to be from the article.
Lioba Leben soll das Zuhause für Menschen jeden Alters sein, für Alleinstehende, für Familien und für pflegebedürftige Senioren.
Ein neues Gebot gebe ich euch: Liebt einander. Wie ich euch geliebt habe, so sollt auch ihr einander lieben.
Quoting scripture.
Daran werden alle erkennen, dass ihr meine Jünger seid, wenn ihr einander liebt.
Tell you, Germany is a beautiful country. Very clean. Oh, that's so beautiful.
Auf der Landkarte von Interessierte das Gelände am Ortsausgang des kleinen Dörfleins
Okay, so this must be where
Rund 30 Kilometer von der Stadt Fulda entfernt.
the Church of St. Lioba.
Ein Stück in unmittelbarer Nähe zum Erkundungs- St. Christi-Kloster. Mit der heiligen Lioba
Yep, there she is.
das orthodoxe Wohnprojekt nicht nur eine Namensgeberin, sondern auch eine große Fürbitterin und wundervolle Diakonissin gewonnen, die zu ihrer Zeit ein
What a beautiful
vorbildliches
icon.
Nächstenliebe war. Noch steht die Planung des ersten orthodoxen
There's the plan there. They're going to put the house there. The house,
Die Gründer der Idee haben gute Gedanken ausgetauscht und Interviews mit
Homes.
Interessierten geführt. Der Appell geht nun an Sie,
How
Ihr
lovely.
Talent, wenn Sie die Idee des gemeinsamen Miteinanders auf dem Fundament der orthodoxen Glaubenspraxis mit Tatkraft unterstützen wollen, dann melden Sie sich bitte. Nutzen Sie den eingeblendeten Link und teilen Sie uns kurz Ihre Kontaktdaten.
Oh, that's just lovely. The project is seeking volunteers to assist with various aspects of the development, including legal matters, construction, media and public relations, finances, administration, and fundraising. Interested parties can contact the project through its website. How lovely. You know, as I said, we used to live in Germany, and you could travel really easily around there in Germany. You can go to different countries if you live in there. I live in that area, but Germany was extremely clean. I mean, they were really good at keeping their roads, their streets, their sidewalks, their around their everything was so clean. No litter, nothing. We lived there for 3 years. And there was actually, we were off base the first year, and there was spots where there was patches of green, and it had a picture of a Schnauzer dog to show where your dog could use they could do their business. It was funny. It was really nice, clean, beautiful castles that we visited, everything. I mean, just amazing place. So it's really nice to see that they have an Orthodox set up there. I mean, they have the monastery, they have that church, they have this community that they're going to build. I mean, that's just great. I love it. Incidentally, there's a saint that actually talks about how I don't remember when this is supposed to happen, but I've read that or I didn't read this, somebody had talked about, some elder talking about it, that Germany would be the first European country in that area in Europe to become Orthodox. Like it's all the majority of its people. I thought that was really cool. I was wondering, on this, I thought to myself, okay, so are there any Orthodox communities like these in the United States? Well, there's some that are trying to be built by St. Ephraim's, down in Arizona. People are trying to build near monasteries, and I know that one is there. I think there might be some other ones. Let me bring this back up. That's what I remember off the top of my head, but I will say that I think people are trying to do that here. We just haven't gotten too far. I do know that we used to live in Pennsylvania. Before we moved here, we were there 4 years, and we lived in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, where a lot of the Amish live. We were spoiled. We used to go to the Mennonite farm and get our fresh farm meat and eggs and things like that. Cheese. It was really nice, really great. But in any case, I always thought to myself when I read this, we should have had an Orthodox version of the Amish way of communities, because they have all that land that they till and then they own, so that they work together to come up with the money to actually buy land and things like that, and they work together. They bring all their money together to get the land in that area. So what's so nice is that because they own it, we don't have to worry about, you know, construction people coming in and trying to put in strip malls or any other more city-like stuff. So I really thought that was really neat. But along the lines of this, you know, I was like, man, we should do that. We should have like I hate the word commune because it's, the reason why I don't like it is because it's been, you know, kind of negative. It's been kind of a negative use of it in the past, you know, for like cult groups. But I just mean that a nice community where you could come together as Orthodox with your church, your homes, gardens, and things like that. Well, I have some information on that at least, and this one is out of California. So let me see. It says Saint Elizabeth, a planned community. See, so that, and I think it's in the Corona, or no, what did they say? I forget what it's called now. Well, anyway, I will find it when I read it here. Let's see. St. Elizabeth Community is not yet in existence, but is envisioned by its planners as a place of belonging, a community where Orthodox Christians can live and heal together, sustaining a therapeutic way of life in relation to each other and the earth, while serving the broader community on a healing path. So reads the opening section in a proposal submitted by a group of Orthodox Christians in California through their parish priest to their bishop and a board of advisors. The following is the text of their proposal, which we are pleased to print in IC, I guess that's the thing, their newspaper or something, as an example of the kind of local community-based ministry that is essentially Orthodox peace work by design. We hope to draw attention to the work and also offer it as an inspiration to others. The proposal made its way to us via Jennifer Ferez, I guess, who is one of St. Elizabeth's founding advisory board members and also a longtime OPF member. So it's through the trauma of St. Elizabeth, the new martyr's husband, being killed, that she dedicated her life to social services and caring for others whose souls had been stretched open by suffering. Our saints throughout history have engaged in a broad array of social services, acting as God's hands on this earth. St. John of Kronstadt, St. Basil, St. Raphael of Brooklyn, Saints Herman and Innocent of Alaska, St. Maria Skobtsova, St. Bridget of Kildare, and many others. Today, the Church has responded in the needs of its people and the surrounding community in various social service-related ministries. Modern works include St. Emmaus House of Harlem, Reconciliation Services in Kansas City, Raphael House, St. Elizabeth's of Minsk, St. Bridget Fellowship of Goleta, California, and of course Focus North America, which seeks to unite Orthodox organizations caring for those in need. In his travels through Eastern Europe in the summer of 2012, Father Paisios Alschel of Kansas City saw many communities of lay people in these former Soviet countries coming together to live, work, and pray, all with the desire to raise their children in the faith that they now freely are able to live. We have such examples in the United States of lay people uniting together in community, but they are either secular or of other faith groups. To this day, there are, like I said, the Amish, to this day, there are no Orthodox communities living on land with a goal to care for each, sorry about that, for each and the broader community. It is essential for the survival of such a community that services to others remains a goal. Otherwise, it will become an isolated bubble, utopia, quote unquote, that will eventually have their life drained from it. Many of us have come to realize through our own experience of suffering that all our healing is intertwined, and we need each other to become all that God has intended us to be on this earth. The world, especially Western society, is becoming increasingly driven by competition, materialism, and individualism. These values result in a variety of physical and mental health symptoms, quote unquote, including loneliness, depression, anxiety, domestic violence, substance abuse, and violent behavior. When people lose their sense of connectedness to each other and the earth, their sense of self is distorted and awareness of God is diminished. We are now faced with two options: unite together in therapeutic communities or fight for what are perceived to be scarce resources on this earth. I see. Community is one of the most basic human needs. A place of belonging is not only essential to our physical health and well-being, but is a critical factor in our spiritual development. We are who we are within the context of each other. Community reveals our weaknesses and need for each other, but also nurtures our strengths. Like stones on a river, it ultimately sculpts us into the creatures God had intended us to be and reveals our true colors. So here's the vision: the homelessness, those who returning from war, the formerly incarcerated, survivors of abuse, childhood and partner, those in recovery from drugs and alcohol, and survivors of disaster, all have in common the shared experience of trauma which has forever altered their lives. Coming out on the other side of something that stretches the soul wide open and sometimes shatters it requires learning how to live again with this newfound knowledge. Many do not survive. In attempting to go back and re-engage the world they once knew, they often find that nothing makes sense anymore. Life is forever altered. Not even people who were once familiar with the comfort. Loved ones may no longer be alive. They may have found other lives, or they may suddenly appear as strangers. Drugs, alcohol, and suicide are common results when the pain becomes too much to bear alone. So basically they're putting together this stuff for these type of people. And they're going to be helping these people in their community there. They're going to help these people who have been suffering. They're going to have this participating in community life together, prayers, meals, etc., etc. Everyone's healing is intertwined, etc. Now, I want to get into the proposed community will directly nurture two populations: Orthodox Christians with a heart for social services and community life living. Individuals or families who desire to live in a more rural place for their health and sanity, sharing their talents and skills to individuals displaced by trauma, as we discussed here, who are seeking a transitional or more permanent place to live and desire to live in a rural community. So you're going to work with the caretakers are going to come together, and then the giver, people that are going to be there to help and take care of them are going to come together with this community. And what I want to do is, yes, they're going to be outreach and doing all that, as we just said. But what I want to get to is what their physical description of community layout is. Oh, by the way, it's in Sonoma County is what I was trying to say. It has a long history of intentional communities and is speaking with business owners. Such a community caring for the poor would be welcome. Santa Rosa has a handful of Orthodox churches, including St. Seraphim's, where some of the long-term former community members of Raphael House attend. The Kazan Skeet is also in town, and the Assumption Monastery is in nearby Calistoga. Well, that's nice. So here's a physical description of community layout. Among various elements being considered: 2 dorm-style houses, 1 male, 1 female, community house with dining room, industrial kitchen to serve the community and prepare food to be sold, library, living room with fireplace, cabins or yurts for individuals, families, or of permanent residents, guests, chapel where residents and visitors can engage in prayers together, garden and greenhouse to grow food for the community and the poor, workshops for iconography, music, woodworking, pottery, candle making, etc. Barn for, among other things, chickens and goats, clinical space for counseling, medicine, etc. So that's what they're planning, which I find very interesting. I hope it comes to be, and it blesses many. May God make it so. So there's, I guess, several different ways you can do these communities, but I do think it would be great if we all had communities, which would be nice in each state, actually, to have these type of communities, if not at least several in the country. They will come in handy for times that may be getting tougher here with the World War. Anyway, I hope you got something out of that. Maybe you have some ideas on these type of communities that I'm talking about here, or I've just showed you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for following my channel.